I bought a van. This is a medium wheelbase, high top, 2012 VW Crafter, and I'm going to be spending the next several months converting this into a log cabin style camper van.
I got a solar panel, 460 watts of pure-ish power. I tried getting a couple smaller ones like most people do. I was directed to City Plumbing to get my solar panel because it's so much cheaper. The one I wanted was out of stock, so I've had to go for one big 460 panel, which is making it a bit more interesting to get it up there. Here's the part where I trust Jazz with my life.
With your life?
Not quite, but my solar panel, which is delicate. There's the solar panel, and there is a Jasmine. And because this is quite a big panel, it's taking up the space of like 2 or 3 smaller ones. And this is only a medium wheelbase, but there's plenty of room for pretty much where Jazz is where the extractor fan is going to go. And to the left of that is where my chimney for the wood burner is going to go. So I want this as close to the edge as I can, but I need room for this. This is where the wiring for the solar panel goes in. So you can drill into the van and then make it waterproof. And they go in these little holes. But first I need to put the panel down. I'm going to stick some 522 underneath these so that when I screw into the van roof, I'll be screwing through the sealant and it should be nice and watertight. Plus this will just also make it extra strong. It'll be stuck to the van as well as screwed to the van. It's Jazz working hard. Now I've got some self-tappers that came with these brackets. Yeah, I'm envisioning this plummeting down on the solar panel, so I might hold it this way around. So that is the solar panel on. I've obviously got some extenders for the solar cables because they literally came to there. And then now basically I need to make a hole in the van to put these through, and this will be like the I don't know what you would call it, but the wires will go in here and this will be sealed down to the van. So I've just done one of the scariest things. I've drilled a hole in the roof of my van. Now it only needed to be 20mm, but I've only got these bigger plastic grommets that I found in the shed, so I've had to obviously do the hole that size. As long as this goes over the top of it, it doesn't really matter. A leak will be a leak. If it gets under this, it doesn't really matter what size the hole is. But as soon as I've done that, looks like it's going to bloody rain. So what I've done is I've just gone around these now bare metal edges with some metal paint to stop it rusting, and I've got to fit this little grommet on here basically because that's a sharp metal edge and these are wires that will cut these if I don't. So I've put the grommet on and obviously it was the wrong size somehow still, so there's a small gap, but I've smothered that bit in sealant, so hopefully that will just be all right. And sorry, it's mostly me talking for the next few minutes, but I'm doing this by myself. Jazz has had to go home, so I can't film on a roof and do this. Now it ain't a very pretty job, obviously. Look at it, and ignore the sealant I got on the side of the panel. At least it's not on the actual panel. They're just my greasy fingerprints. I'll be able to clean them up. I have absolutely, like, I could not use any more sealant on that. I've used so much underneath it, around the edge of it. If that leaks, well, I don't know what to do. Here we are, and I've made an absolute mess of it, as you could probably imagine. So now I need to twist these things and they clamp shut on these, stopping any water getting in. So there we are, look, there's the hole in the insulation. Oh, mate, I just guessed, I'll be honest, on the roof. I just hoped that I had passed where I'd finished with the pallet wood without going into this bit. That weren't bad, was it? Right, so for now, I am just going to cable tie them to the wall of the van to keep them out of the way, but I am going to buy some protective sheathing coating that you put these in to stop them rubbing against the side of the van and eventually causing it to short circuit or whatever. So I will be doing that before anyone says, but for now I'm pulling it out. Also, I don't want to wire it down the bottom there and realise I've cut the wire too short because I haven't pushed it against the edge of the van. Slightly going off topic, I mean, not really, but kinda. While I've been looking into how to do the electrical system and deciding that I'm just going to stick to 12 volts for now, because there's nothing that I want that runs on 240 volts, so I don't need an inverter at the moment. I may change my mind, but I've been looking into what else that I might want that can run on 12 volts, and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if I could sit in here and play some like retro games, but not like an emulated one, you know, the actual console. And so I had a little look around, and one of the retro consoles I've got is a Nintendo 64, and apparently you can run that on as little as 6 volts. So I can safely run that on 12 volts, as long as it looks all right on a 12 volt TV, because that's another thing. They always look crap on newer TVs. It looks better on an old TV, but that's just an idea. So I may get a Nintendo 64 in the van once I sort out a TV. I've just got to obviously do a bit of a bodge job on the wiring to get it to connect to the 12 volt system, but I'll figure it out. Ugh. Come on. Come on. I'm just going to do that. I was making that harder than it needed to be. Quick disclaimer, I am not an electrician. I am far from an expert on electronics. This is not a how-to video. Take everything that I'm saying with a pinch of salt, do your own research, and if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, get a professional to do it. So, this is like my third attempt at filming this section of the video. Basically, it's a mixture of my own fault and assuming that certain parts came with certain bits that didn't. I've already had it together, I've had it working. I was getting about 80 watts of solar in the shade because my house is in the way. I'll put that up on the screen. But basically it was bodged together because it didn't come with these to attach to these things. It's basically almost like a bus bar, but attached to the clip thing which goes on these ports of the battery, right? Whatever you call these things. So I had just bodged it on with this. I had sandwiched the ends, the raw ends of the wire in between these metal plates. And one, it was just so hard to get all of them because there's multiple attachments on each one. And it just wasn't secure. So I've had to basically wait until these arrived. Sorry, it started raining. I tried to film it in there. Too dark. But the rain stopped for now. Typical. I just started to get somewhere with it. And the sky tries to cover all my electrics in water. I didn't buy a crimping tool because I already bought a crimping set. And it is absolutely not the right thing at all. Like, I don't think I can use this for any of the applications in this van whatsoever. I might have to send it back, to be honest. I do have some pliers of different types and some just brute strength. As long as it's on and it won't come off, does it matter how I crimp it? I don't think so. Who needs the right tools when you've got brute force, eh? Don't care who you are. That ain't pulling off, mate. Proper dented. And now to insulate it with some electrical tape. So yeah, I've had to take it apart to do this all properly. So I've unplugged the solar panels. They're out here because it's good practice to plug in the batteries to the solar controller first. Although I have already set this up, I figure I'll do it the right way around. Let's put that over there. So basically, I'm going to run these batteries in parallel. So I'm going to connect both negatives together, both positives together. That will keep the voltage the same, but it will double the amps. So it will stay at 12 volts, which is what I want. And then I should get more amps out of it. So more like battery life, I guess. I'll put the negative on one of the batteries and the positive on the other, instead of putting both on the same battery, because apparently that keeps it more balanced. So I was told. And then once that's all connected, I will plug the solar panel back in. And of course, I've got a circuit breaker running from this on the positive into this, 40 amps, because it should be more than what this puts out, but then less than what the cables can handle. So that's what I'm told. And I'm also doing the same when I run the positive from here to the fuse box. I'll be putting a 40 amp circuit breaker as well. So I'm going to connect the batteries up first in parallel. They've already settled, they've already equalized, I've already done it, as I've already said. But what I'm going to do is I've also got to ground it, and you ground from the battery. Basically, one of the negative terminals I will ground to the chassis of the van. And that's all you have to do with a 12 volt system. You don't need to ground the appliances individually. I think it might be different if you've got an inverter. Again, this is not a how-to video by any means. This is what I'm doing. I'm just sharing what my interpretation is of what I've seen and what I've learned. Some of it may be wrong, so please refer to somebody more knowledgeable than me. Oh, and I should have said I'm using 16mm squared cable, 110 amp. I think that's more than enough for what I'm doing. 460 watts of solar, 100 volt 30 amp solar controller, and two 130 amp hour batteries run in parallel, and no inverter. So I'm trying to be quick, which is not good because it's not something I'm very experienced in, but it keeps threatening to rain and I need to get this done. I've had to stop a couple times already. So let's crack on. Let's get crack-a-lacking. The circuit breaker running from the solar controller is off, by the way. The good thing about this style is I can almost use it like a switch, so I can switch it on while it's set up. This isn't the most pretty setup. Again, I'm having to make do with the size wires I've got after I've moved it around and already cut the wires. That's the battery set up in parallel. I've got my ground wire running from here, which I haven't put in yet, but I will. And then the solar controller is plugged into each battery. One's in the positive, one's in the negative. And then now it's just time to put the circuit breaker back on. There we go. It's flashing. Back on. So that one's in. Bang! I always do that. I do it to Jazz all the time. It really annoys her because it scares her. There we are. So that now the bulk light has come on steady. So that should be charging again. No, I was getting smug thinking, cool, yeah, I'm keeping these wires all nice and short, like they said is good practice. Guess what? When I screw this to the wall, no, it won't reach that one. But I don't think it actually matters which terminal they're attached to, because I feel like the way I understand it anyway, is when you run these batteries in parallel, you effectively almost make it like one giant battery, because you keep the volts the same. It's just got a larger storage of amps in it. There's no way I was moving everything else just so this one thing would reach and fit. No way. It wasn't that much out, so I've just screwed this piece of batten just to bring it out enough so that it reaches. You know, it might be easier to attach this to this first because I literally have no play here at all. I know all the electrical people out there are cringing, but don't worry about it. I think I've done all right. This is how I work. I just go for it and I just make it up as I go along. And it usually works out. And I think, to be fair, I think it looks quite neat. Considering I don't know what I'm doing. I've kept the wires all nice and short. Look at that. That's what we've got going on so far. Basically, I have to wait for the extra wire to arrive so I can attach the negative to the fuse box and the battery. All that's left for now, until I get the extra wire that's going to turn up, I need to attach this ground to the chassis of the van. As you can see, I've sanded off the paint, so I've got a nice clean connection. And I'm basically going to use a washer and a self-tapping screw to basically secure that onto there nice and tight. So then the whole system is grounded to the chassis of the van. There we are. Now the system is grounded to the chassis. Just going to need to paint over that, I think. Otherwise, this exposed bit's going to rust. I bought a bloody fridge, didn't I? 12 volt, of course. I think it only draws like 6 amps, so it should be pretty efficient. 83 litre. It was the biggest one, and I thought, I don't know how people survive on these 30, 40 litre fridges. As you can see, it's the perfect height. Look, when I put the kitchen worktop on, it will come to about here, so you won't see the plywood. Perfect. Now, it's time to wire it. Another first, I've never wired a fridge in before, but it's just 12 volts, so should be as simple as wiring anything else that's 12 volts. Just got to plug it in to the fuse box. So I got lucky, it does reach. Just got to add the little attachment so it can fix onto here. And let's ignore the negative from here to the battery because my delivery didn't arrive. But that's still 6 mil and can take 47 amps. And I'm literally just going to be running this 6 amp fridge on it until tomorrow. I could wait till tomorrow, but I'm impatient. I want to see the fridge working. So ignore that. I can replace that tomorrow with the proper 16 mil cable. It's better to be too big than too small. Stop it. It's just adding these little loop attachment things. Clip that on. And then I will have a fridge that is running off of solar power, which is pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, there's loads of people here that have done camper vans that don't think anything of it, but to me, that's very cool. So now I want to attach the positive to the positive, obviously, which is one of these side ones, and then the negative to this one of these. I don't think it's so important which one of these you attach it to, but it's important which one of these you do because that's where the fuse is. Mate, it's so much easier with these loop things instead of trying to faff around like I was the last few days. So much tidier as well. That's the positive and the negative. But obviously the fridge isn't going to work because there's not a fuse in there yet. The circuit is not complete. So I need to pick a fuse, and that's a 6 amp, so I'm assuming 10. Obviously it needs to be more than what that's going to use. 10 amp. Let's put it in. Now let's have a look at the fridge. Oh, ho, ho, come on. Look at that. It's on. I bloody did it. I just realised I haven't even shown you inside my fridge yet. Let's have a look at all the space we got. What? What's that doing in there? This is supposed to be a food fridge. Oh no. Somebody's filled it up with all this lager. That's just dreadful. I guess I'll have to find a way to dispose of all of this. Oh, anyway, it's a good sized fridge. And there's even a freezer tray up here, which you can remove just so it's a big fridge, but that probably come in handy, I think. Plenty of food and refreshments will be able to fit in here. Lovely stuff. What? I said I had to dispose of it. Some reckless person left all this lager in the fridge. So, it's the next day and it's all still looking good. The batteries are still charging from the solar charger, and it's even with the fridge running, it didn't die overnight, and it's just on float. It has just been on float all day. So that fridge cannot be pulling much power at all. But now I'm going to be attaching a USB charger. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to wire it up with this 12 volt cable, and it comes with the positive and negative both together in this shielded cable, which is quite handy. I've already added the loop attachments to go onto here, and now I need to add, there are these little clips which basically allow you to neatly join two different sets of wires. So as you can see, there's like a male and a female part to this. I've just got to attach one to this one and one to the other one, and then it should just slot together. I will cover it in electrical tape afterwards as well, obviously. It needs a crimping tool when you got brute force. I ain't going nowhere, mate. I was really worried about doing all this electrical stuff, but now I've got the hard bit out of the way, I'm quite chilled. These bits are fairly simple, aren't they? To be honest, the trickiest part is focusing on what I'm doing and still trying to keep it in shot when I'm doing it like this. But yeah, I've just got to basically slot this in here. You go, look, there's red into red, black into black. That's nice and connected. Although I'm not sure how much I trust these, and I think, again, I'm not an electrician, but I'm sure I should be insulating things that I can. So I'm going to go over that with some tape to insulate it, and it should hold it together better as well, surely. And now all we've got to do is plug in my little USB charge port. But first, I've obviously got to replace, like I said, the wire I was using for the negative from the fuse box to the battery. But the wire's arrived now, although it's the wrong colour. I wanted black, so I had all red for positive, all black for negative, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same cable. I might put some tape on it just so I know, but it'll be fine. And cool, look at how much easier it is to slide this into here. Now these haven't been all frayed and messed about because I used them before the wrong way. Look, straight on. how they should have gone on the first time. Just got to do it a couple of times. So there we go. That's all that wired up properly, finally. So I can turn this back on. That beep is the fridge. Now I can wire up my USB charger into my 12-volt fuse box. So I was going to try and keep them all in a line, but I haven't actually made these two long enough, and I can't be bothered to mess around with that now. So I'm just going to put the blade fuse up here. I'm going to plug it in up the top. I know that this drill was overkill for this job, but I can't find the handheld one, so there we go. These. There we go. That's all connected. Now just to put the 5 amp blade fuse in, and that light should go out, and then we should have a charger. So we go, let's have a little test. This thing pops open. Is it working? Come on, have a look at that. So for now, I'm literally just going to put it on here. I ideally want it on my, because I'm going to put, as I've said, I'm going to put like a shelf to fill this gap here. It's going to be like a bedside shelf. But for now, I'm just going to put it on here. And to be fair, it can go here and I can still charge stuff on this shelf, can't I? So now I was debating undoing these wires so that I can drill a hole through here and poke that through and make it neater. But I'm not even sure that this is actually where I want it yet. So I'm going to avoid drilling unnecessary holes in my bed when I can just put it here for now. I can do that at a later date when I decide where it's definitely going to go. I just need to put it somewhere. So look what I've just found. You know, everyone's got that cupboard full of random crap at their house. I found a load of these in. So, I mean, they may not be ideal for the van, but for now, they're going to keep these all out of the way until I get a better solution. So there we have it. My electrical system, at least the start of it, is complete. We got the solar panel on, and it rained a few times, and I have not had a leak yet, so that's good. This will all be hidden behind the wall when I've completed that, and I'll put some wire protectors along it so they don't rub. Same with a lot of this. Don't worry, this is just the initial setup. I'd say that doesn't look too bad though. It looks fairly tidy for somebody that's never done this before, and it was a complete first attempt. I've literally educated myself on how to do it while doing it. All this wiring to the fridge will be hidden behind the seating and the whole kitchen setup in general. I've just sort of pinned it to the wall so it don't flap around for now, like I have with these bits. And I obviously got my USB charger sorted, although that was probably the easiest part of it all. And yeah, I've got my food fridge. So that's it for this time. That was definitely the most challenging part of the whole build so far, and there are definitely plenty of scenes that I've had to cut because I just lost my temper and started swearing. But I was adamant that I was going to do everything in this van if I could, and I'm on track to do so, just about. I guess the next part that were going to be hard will be installing the wood burning stove, because that is coming, and the window. I think they will be the worst two parts, I think. But if you've enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button and give me a like. And until next time, see you later.